Welcome to today's Advanced Explainer. Grab your seats because today we're stepping straight into the lecture hall. I want you to put on your clinical biologist hats with me as we dissect the precise cellular mechanics of human preservation and, more importantly, the severe biological consequences of metabolic disruption. We are totally bypassing the basic wellness advice today. Instead, we're going to look strictly at the advanced cellular machinery that dictates exactly how our bodies age, repair, and defend themselves. So pay close attention, because understanding this mechanism isn't just an academic exercise. It is literally the foundation of your cellular survival.
All right, here's our syllabus for today. We're covering cellular mechanics, the pathology of disruption, chronobiology and fasting, metabolic synergies, and finally, we'll synthesize it all into the preservation protocol. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. Cellular Mechanics, the Internal Diagnostic Cycle.
Now, you absolutely have to understand this mechanism, autophagy. It literally comes from the Greek words for self-eating. It's this non-negotiable, deep internal cleanup cycle that your body uses to clear out defective biological substrates long before they can multiply. Think of it like a relentless, microscopic quality control inspector. It patrols your biology, identifies damaged cellular components, dismantles highly mutated cells, and even recycles defective mitochondria. When your biology is functioning the way it's supposed to, this system ruthlessly eliminates cellular errors before they can accumulate into broader systemic failure.
But here is the crucial and, honestly, somewhat sobering point about what happens as we age. Once you hit 50, the efficiency of this autophagic machinery naturally drops by an estimated 40 to 50%. Just let that number sink in for a second. Your body's primary diagnostic and cleanup cycle is suddenly operating at roughly half its former capacity. Your internal proofreading system starts missing errors. And this severe drop in mechanical efficiency makes external lifestyle interventions not just a good idea, but an absolute biological imperative to restore that lost capacity and prevent uncorrected damage from taking hold.
Moving right along to Section 2, the pathology of disruption, the metabolic overload.
Take a look at the stark biological contrast between these two vital metabolic modes. When you're in the fed state, your body is pumping out elevated insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1. That's a major growth hormone. It's basically commanding your cells to prioritize growth and multiplication, which directly suppresses your DNA repair enzymes. When those growth pathways are wide open, your recycling pathways are slammed shut. Conversely, in the fasted state, your circulating glucose is depleted. This sudden lack of available energy signals your body to halt growth and aggressively engage autophagy and DNA mismatch repair, redirecting all those resources to mend defective cellular structures rather than build new ones.
And here is the absolute clinical tragedy of modern life: constant food availability. By throwing back calories from your early morning cream-filled coffee right through to a late-night snack, you are chronically flooding your system with glucose and entirely shutting down the cellular cleanup window. Look, when you eat across a 16-hour window, your body simply never enters a deeply fasted state. You're constantly signaling growth and completely suppressing repair. By doing this, you are inadvertently allowing defective cellular material to survive, accumulate, and replicate unchecked throughout your tissues.
Which brings us to Section 3, Chronobiology and Fasting Windows.
Let's examine this metabolic schedule. 0 hours, that's your last bite of food. Fast forward 8 hours, and your blood sugar is just finally stabilizing as your body processes that last caloric input. But it isn't until that 13 to 16-hour mark of continuous fasting that your body really flips the switch on robust, clinical-grade cellular recycling. Autophagy is not immediate, folks. It requires a sustained, uninterrupted absence of caloric input to force the cellular machinery to turn inward, scavenge for resources, and actually start breaking down its own internal cellular garbage for fuel.
Now, the clinical data from these trials is just phenomenal. It proves the sheer power of chronological fasting. A 2019 study out of the University of Southern California showed that simply restricting your eating to a 10-hour window slashed the growth-promoting hormone IGF-1 by 34%. That is a massive downregulation of the growth signal. Furthermore, a landmark 2022 trial from the University of Alabama at Birmingham tested a strict 14-10 protocol, so fasting for 14 hours, eating within 10. The result? A 37% reduction in oxidative DNA damage. And the best part? All of this was achieved without requiring patients to count a single calorie. They simply changed their biological timing to match their internal cleanup cycles.
You've got to pay close attention to this figure from that exact same UAAB trial. That 14-10 fasting protocol resulted in a staggering 41% improvement in the genes responsible for cellular quality control. Think about what that means. Simply by closing their metabolic window, patients were genetically upregulating their body's internal stop signs, directly inhibiting unchecked cellular replication. They were literally instructing their own DNA to prioritize defense and repair.
All right, Section 4, clinical biomarkers and synergies.
Notice how intricately these biological systems have to interact? Look, fasting is the master lever, absolutely, but it needs supporting systems to actually execute the cellular cleanup. First up, hydration. Consuming 16 to 20 ounces of water the second you wake up is mandatory to run your lymphatic system, basically your body's cellular garbage truck. Without proper cellular hydration, autophagy efficiency drops an additional 30% after age 65. Second is sleep. Deep, slow-wave sleep is what we call clinical sleep architecture. It runs the glymphatic power wash cycle in your brain to clear out toxic proteins, and it releases vital cytokines. These cytokines dramatically amplify the production of natural killer cells. Those are the specialized immune forces patrolling your bloodstream, destroying early-stage cellular mutations right before they take root.
Let's synthesize all of this in Section 5, the preservation protocol.
All right, pens ready? These are your strict clinical directives. Step 1, establish your metabolic window. You need to confine all your caloric intake to a 10 to 12-hour period. Step 2, eliminate all late-night caloric intake. Outside of your window, you consume absolutely nothing but water or plain black coffee, 0 calories, so that cleanup cycle can actually run. Step 3, flush your lymphatic system with 16 to 20 ounces of water the exact moment your feet hit the floor in the morning. And Step 4, fiercely protect your sleep architecture by anchoring your circadian rhythm with a consistent wake time every single morning to ensure your immune forces are fully deployed.
I love this quote from clinical researcher Dr. Alan Mandel. As he so perfectly underscores here, accumulated cellular damage is the very biological substrate of disease. Listen, controlling your metabolic windows isn't some passing dietary fad. It's a highly advanced, evidence-based biological strategy to stop the accumulation of uncorrected cellular damage. Your biology responds directly to the conditions you dictate. That means your long-term cellular health is an active variable, entirely dependent on your daily protocols.
All right. Class is dismissed for today. But before you go, I want to leave you with this final, highly consequential thought to chew on. Take a hard look at your daily routine. Are you actively controlling your biological timeline to force cellular preservation? Or is your lack of structure inadvertently shutting down your body's most critical defense system? The mechanics, as we've seen today, are entirely in your hands.